This is Bleav in Georgia Dawgs podcast on the Bleav Podcast Network.
Scored a touchdown earlier on a direct snap. Now it's Michelle's turn, running all the way. Gets to the edge. Sonny Michel will send the Dawgs home to the championship game.
53.5-yard drive near hash, kicking right, snap, hold, kick is away, it's reaching, and it is good, good, good. Hot Pod does it. All right, Hot Pod.
Wilcox with an up and out, wide open, touchdown, Israel Troop.
What is up, man? We are back. It's another edition of the Bleav in Georgia Dawgs podcast on the Bleav Podcast Network. Also coming at you live on Brinks TV. You can see our faces right now. Fresh off the practice field is me. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Our Twitter and social media information is scrolling right down below you. Joining me on the other side, from right down there in Albany, it's Israel Troop, man. What's up?
What's going on, man? Just trying to survive the heat down here today. I hear y'all got it pretty bad up there too.
Yeah, it's bad all week, man. It's been rough. We've had we've had to move practice back significantly, like all the way back to 6 o'clock even. I mean, like I would get there at 5:15 and the heat index would still be like 103. So yeah, we got quite a heat wave going. Yeah,
ours spiked up to about 114 earlier today. So we were able to get out about, I think it was about 5 o'clock today. So, but they cut our practice in half today. So, I mean, we got it in, but, got to stay safe out here in these heat and these conditions. Yeah, no doubt. Safety is always first priority. So you don't have anything without safety. But we definitely hydrate the kids, give them plenty of breaks. Go a little bit later so that they can actually function. But yeah, we got a scrimmage tomorrow against FRA. I'm excited about that. It'll be our first live 11-on-11 competition. So I'm interested to see what we're going to be able to do. Man, that sounds good. We got our inter-squad scrimmage next Friday. We got a big inter-squad scrimmage, and then the 13th we get the Terrell County. I think they're the Tornadoes too, I Bleav. But we get them on the 13th, so we're excited about that coming up here soon. It's always good when you start hearing the band playing and practicing during the summer. So that means then that lets you know that football season's right around the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're looking for a new band director, so our band's not practicing right now. So there you go. So that being said, we are presented by BetOnline.ag, and the Olympics are rocking and rolling right now. And it's a good time to get in on all the sports action. BetOnline has all the odds, anything imaginable you can bet on. They have all the news, information. They can take care of your online sports betting needs. They have the casino as well. Few things going on in the, they have NFL futures, college futures, things you can take advantage of. So, Israel, they're going to have to go visit the website, or, they can hop on their phone from a computer, wherever. They can join, receive a 50% welcome bonus on the first deposit. So before that next tip-off, face-off, or pitch, or even badminton match, head on over to BetOnline and start playing today. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Yeah, the Olympics, man. Have you been watching the Olympics?
I have. I watched a little bit of it. I watched the swimming the other day. A lot of Georgia Dawgs are on the swimming team. I actually was watching ping pong with our trainer the other day.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing how ping pong is an actual Olympic sport. So it was very interesting to watch, and the way that they play ping pong is totally different than when I play it.
Well, they're like 30 feet away from the table, and the skill that it takes there, man.
They are super into it too as well.
Are you a bow hunter?
I am.
Dude, you missed your calling being an Olympic archer, man. I saw this dude stepped up. Looked like he was from I don't know where he's from, actually, but it looked like he was from the backwoods in Arkansas. Looked like he just came out of a tree stand, and he took that bow and just went, bam, bullseye, bam, bullseye, bam, bullseye. Had the other guy, he was facing off against some dude from Chile, and had him shook. And I had a good chuckle with that. I'm like, man, this guy don't win the gold medal, then it's big.
Man, it's crazy. They got the Simone Biles thing going. I hope she comes back, stronger than ever. I didn't know this until, I was kind of doing some research that they said that she couldn't get a perfect score because she was too good. Like, what are we doing?
Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like,
how do you not give somebody their full points for doing exactly what they were supposed to do? Is my point. I'm like, I get it. It's Simone Biles. She's supposed to, but she did everything exactly right. And you said, you're too good, so we're not going to give you all your points.
So I guess they ding her on degree of difficulty because she can do everything. Man.
Yeah, she's supposed to be able to do that. That's the point of the Olympics, is to win the gold medal, to do things that other people can't.
Yeah, not get penalized for it. Can you imagine if Steph Curry pulls up from just beyond the court and they give him a 2-pointer for that?
Yeah, they're like, no, you're the only one that can do that, so everybody can't. Man, get out of here.
Yeah, your 3-pointers are from the other end, and he'd probably start hitting those too. So maybe we should.
I can only imagine if I'm at like my child's gymnastics meet and they only give her like a little bit of her, not all her points. I can only imagine what kind of dad I would be at that point.
Yeah, God, that's just, I can't imagine that. So, I hope she bounces back and she's obviously one of the best to ever do it in the sport of gymnastics. So, hopefully she's not having a USA basketball type of experience where I don't know what's going on with that, man. Like, we cannot win silver at sport. Like, we're the best in the world at basketball. We have to be the best in the world at basketball.
I know, you just got it. I don't know what they got going on. It's I've never seen a team do the things that they're doing right now, losing the games that they're losing. I understand there were exhibition matches before, but I've never seen a U.S. team just with so much talent on it look this bad before.
Yeah, they lost to France in the actual tournament. So, like, come on now. Yeah, they got to figure something out, man. They got to play together. I don't know. They're not into it, so whatever. If they're not into it, I'm not into it. Who cares, right?
Right.
Not to be the Bleav in the Olympics podcast. We are the Bleav in Georgia Dawgs podcast. So we're going to get to that here in a little bit. But the Olympics is current events, so I figure we could get to that, talk about that a little bit, because it's interesting. It happens once every 4 years. So why not give a little love to the Olympics? And it's going to start turning into the Olympics of ESPN Ocho, which I don't know, it's kind of cool in itself. But,
go ahead.
To say I watched one of the weakest rugby matches of all time, with two teams that I thought would have a really good rugby match, which is the New Zealand All Blacks and the Team GB, which is Great Britain, is what they call themselves. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was going to be, a nice little battle, but it looked like backyard rugby. Like it looked like a bunch of like young dudes trying to learn how to play rugby is what it looked like. Like it wasn't typical. It wasn't typical New Zealand rugby, which New Zealand obviously is known. They're the best rugby team in the world by far, hands down. Well, maybe not by far, hands down, because Australia's got something to say about that, and South Africa's got something to say about that too. But the All Blacks are like that's the brand when it comes to rugby, and so that's where the haka lives and all that stuff. So I expected I turned that on, I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna get to watch some live All Blacks rugby here, and nope. It was so weak, man. I had to change the channel. I watched a rerun of a movie.
Oh,
I was
that's rough.
I can't watch this, man. This is terrible.
You went and watched a chick flick instead of the rugby. That's crazy.
It is, right? It is. So As you can see from our sidebar here, we do have a special guest. He's going to be joining us at some point, hopefully. Again, the ever so probably spread way too thin special guest. I'm not going to reveal who it is. We're going to let that be a surprise. So when that special guest arrives, they will jump in on the conversation. So a lot has transpired. And since we last talked about expansion, the initial news, we got our initial reaction out of it. It is official, though. I do believe. I saw that when I was going through my internet browsing. The SEC voted unanimously to accept these two teams into the conference, so they will get official invites. It's just a matter of when at this point. And I think with that letter that the Big 12 sent ESPN, that I feel like that kind of torpedoes any chance that the Big 12 is going to survive past this season.
Yeah, I think it's a good move by those two schools. I'm excited about it. I've been looking at how everybody's kind of done the region. From the ones that I looked at, I'd like the 2 region. That puts, Alabama and Auburn, in the East. And that puts Arkansas, I think it's Arkansas, Missouri, Texas, Oklahoma, LSU, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State over in the West. And Alabama and Auburn come over to us. So, I think that'd be good. I think there's a potential for, a different team each year going to the SEC championship. So I'm excited about it. I think it's a good move by them. I love the fact that they thought enough to even come to the SEC, which now puts the ACC in the bind, because right now it's just Clemson. Can Miami, get it together? Can Virginia, with Bronco Mendenhall, can those guys get together? So, ACC's got to sever the game, because I don't think Clemson can hold on that much longer, especially with these two coming in and with the strength of schedule now that now hangs in the balance, is actually going to propel them, especially into a playoff spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Florida State, they're rebuilding. They're going to have to happen a lot faster in the ACC if they want to compete. Some of these teams in the Big Ten are also, there's a little pressure on them now. Outside of Ohio State, there's going to have to be another team that supports them. Can Wisconsin do that? Year in and year out, they're pretty good, but they haven't reached that upper echelon quite yet, where they're consistently competing with Ohio State. I would love for that to happen, but it's just not quite there on a consistent basis yet. Iowa's a team that should have potential to do it, but they're kind of a stale organization. Penn State, they're kind of right there. They're solid, but they're never great. So you got a bunch of teams in the Big Ten that have potential to do it. Now they just need to pop and do it. Maybe NIL will help them. But I love Oklahoma and Texas coming over. I'm glad it was unanimous. It's great for the conference. It's great for the divisions. I'm hearing pods are a great possibility. Particularly like the pods. The more I think about it, I'm always willing to go outside the box, but I'm just not sure that would be the best route. I think the division model shown it can work. I think if they realign the divisions, they'll be just fine. They'll solve the problem. 4 teams from the conference are going to get in anyway. So, it honestly, just for seeding purposes, it doesn't really matter. Like if you win, obviously you get the bye into the second round. But if you're the 4th best team in the SEC, you're going, right. And that so as long as you can strive for that playoff spot and try to stay in the top 12 ranking all year, you'll be just fine. Like A&M would have gone, Florida would have been there, Georgia would have been there, and of course Alabama would have all been in a 12-team playoff easily. And you get 4 SEC teams in, you never know what's going to happen. Like if Alabama had to play Florida again this past season, who knows what would have happened in that game, because I don't think those guys leave. And so when you look at that matchup, that could have gone either way, honestly, because Florida ran with them in the SEC championship, much to my surprise, not because I thought Florida was bad last year, but just because Alabama just had such a historically good offense.
Yeah, that too. And then you think about it, Alabama has to play Georgia again. With the QB change, does that matchup, go any different? So I mean, with everything going on and just the excitement of Texas, Oklahoma coming in to the SEC. I mean that's huge. That's huge. Which they're going to put a whooping on the Big 12 now before they leave. So you got to think about, all right, we're leaving, so we're going to make our presence known right now and how big we are to this conference. So you best believe that they're going to try to route everybody this year. Texas got Sark, so the offense is going to be high powered. Even if they got dudes or not, he's going to find a way. Oklahoma's Oklahoma. And, they're going to put up points. You still got Iowa State over there. You still got Baylor, who are doing pretty good. And TCC may make some noise, but those two schools are going to make some noise before they leave. And I'm scared for everybody in that conference right now.
Oh yeah, it's going to be brutal. Like Kansas is going to get 50-pieced.
Yeah.
Baylor's going to get 50-pieced. Texas Tech is going to get 60-pieced. It's going to be brutal, man. And those two teams are going to try to make their presence known, not only to the Big 12, but they're going to try to say, hey, this is what you're getting, right?
Yeah.
This is what you're getting with Oklahoma. We're going to pour it on, and we can actually play some SEC-level defense. And then also with Texas, they're going to show that, hey, we're not dead yet. We've been bad for a little while, but we got our coaching hire right. Hopefully for their sake they did. But, we don't quite know what Sark is going to be like as a head coach, because the last time he was a head coach, obviously he was going through some things. But, I'm interested to see, like, this is a different Sarkisian, so I don't know what to expect there. But he's at a place like Texas. He's going to have all the resources. He's going to have everything he needs. So it's going to be, it's going to be interesting to see what he brings to the table this year in their first audition for the SEC, because all eyes are going to be on Texas and Oklahoma this year. They're going to get a huge ratings boost, but I'm ready for it. I hope they come over. I hope they come over competitively, and I hope Texas can bring something to the table, much like what they weren't able to do in the Big 12 for several years. But, hey, they're going to come in, and it's going to be a dogfight each and every week, pun intended. And, I'm here for it. Like, I'm here for LSU, Texas, Arkansas, Texas. Like, there was, I think Mizzou fans, Arkansas fans, A&M fans were worried about Texas coming into and Oklahoma coming into the conference. But Israel, to me, it helps recruiting, because now you're getting an annual matchup with those programs, especially in the state of Texas. You're getting that showcase each and every year, whereas like to play Texas and to get into Austin and a more prominent Texas markets, because let's be honest, more eyes are going to be on the Longhorns than there are on the Aggies. Let's just be honest. That's true even now. But so you're going to recruits that you were once like not really in it with, you're in it with them now, because hey, I'm in the SEC. I don't Texas, I'm in the SEC. They're going to recruit better now because they're in the SEC. A&M got that bump. Like, everybody's recruiting is going to get better because they're going to want to come to the Southeastern Conference. They're not going to want to jump to the Big Ten as much as they would previously, or the Pac-12 as much as they would previously. The conference expands. The more opportunities to get a lot of NFL eyes on you drastically it expands. And so you go to the premier college in the state of Arkansas, NIL, like, there's some stuff in Little Rock that you can get your hands on. So it's not quite the recruiting dead zone that it used to be. Texas and Oklahoma brings credibility to that.
You got to think too. I mean, where do the best football players come out of? Florida, Georgia, Texas, and Alabama. In all reality, that's pretty much where they come out of. So now you bring Texas and Oklahoma over here. Well, Oklahoma's got some kids from Georgia. They got Hazelwood from Georgia. He went to Cedar Grove. They got somebody else from down here in Georgia. Well, now that market's opened up. That opens up now. Who wants to go to the Big 12 and play football? Who really wants to go to the Big 12 and play football?
Not any defensive player. Yeah, not any defensive players want to go to the Big 12. That's where defense goes to die.
you start to see, you're seeing somebody it scores of 54 to 48, things like that. Nobody wants to go there and play defense. Well, now you're recruiting for defensive guys goes up now because you're going to have to play defense in the SEC. If you don't, then you're going to get monkey style because the other team's going to play defense. So that opens the window for defensive guys. Now you start to look at, well, say if I'm being recruited by Oklahoma and Texas, well, Oklahoma has this to offer for NIL. Well, Texas has definitely this to offer, for NIL. So that now that market opens up, and now for every other school now you can dip into Texas because like you said, you get to go over there, you get to play them, you get to go to Oklahoma, you get to play them. And now if you put on a good show, people are like, man, did you see what they did to Oklahoma? I think I want to go there. So now that market just opens up. Now you're starting to get people from the Midwest, and they're coming over here, and then everybody's gonna benefit from this happening.
Yeah, no doubt. And so I'm here for it. I think this league, I want the best possible, right? I want to be in the best league. I want to play in the best league, week in and week out. It shouldn't be easy because that's not good football to watch. And for Georgia, it's not going to be easy because I think that you're going to have really difficult crossover games. There is no easy opponents now because everybody's recruiting is going to ramp up. Even Vanderbilt. Yes, I said even Vanderbilt. So, it's going to be good overall. But Israel, one of the, obviously one of the side effects is now that displaces Alabama and Auburn over to the East, which, I think you play your divisional opponents, and then I think you do away with the permanent opponents from the crossovers, and you just say, okay, we're just going to rotate it through. It doesn't matter about any of these permanent matchups. Let's just rotate it through, and you're just going to play, two Western opponents every year, and let's rock and roll. That way, in every 4 years, you will have played everybody in the conference. So Alabama coming over, that sparks up a rivalry there with Georgia. Also you preserve the Deep South's oldest rivalry with Auburn. And of course the cocktail party still remains an annual showdown if you maintain these divisional lines. So I'm here for it. But a lot of Georgia fans are probably a little bit nervous about Alabama coming over. I say bring it on.
I say bring it on. And it also depends on when you play Bama. I want to catch Bama at the beginning of the year. I don't want to catch them when they start to figure stuff out. If we can catch them about between week 1 to week 4, I think we got them. If we catch them about 7, 8, 9 going down, then it's a little bit more of a battle. You know what I mean? But hey, that's football. Everybody recruits. Everybody, you got to figure it out on your own. Everybody's got great coaches. Everybody's got great players. Now it's time to go out and play ball. If you're scared of some competition, then you shouldn't play ball. Point blank, period. Right, exactly. If you're scared that Auburn and Alabama's coming over to the east side, then you're not a true fan of college football. That's what you want to see. You want to see Georgia beat the best and show that they are the best. That's what I'm looking for.
Exactly. Ric Flair said it best. To be the man, you got to beat the man.
You got to beat the man.
Woo! Yeah. And you got to drop a woo in there. So expansion is a great thing. Is the SEC done? That's the next question. Are they done?
Who else could we get? I think those are two big ones. I don't see who else would want to come over and come in here now.
I've heard Clemson and Florida State are possibly on the invite list. I've heard that's a possibility. I don't know how much of a possibility, but there's some rumors out there.
If those two came, the ACC would not have a spot in the playoff.
No. If those two came, they definitely wouldn't.
The ACC would be done.
Well, they would just merge with the American and then just hope for the best is what would happen. So they would just become the East Coast League, where they would have literally the entire Eastern Seaboard.
But they get trumped by Cincinnati there.
Yeah, Cincinnati's
a good football team.
Yeah, do you think the Big 12? Do you think the Big 12's dead? Do you think the Big 10 absorbs Cincinnati? Possibly. If they finally get an invite,
that's a possibility.
That would be a great possibility. Ohio State would poo-poo that, but they need to. They need to get in the Big Ten. They're good. They're a good program. Desmond Ridder, I really enjoyed watching him at quarterback in the bowl game. I think he is really good. And he's coming back.
I forgot that game was that close. I completely forgot that it was that out. You know, we see it all the time. Before we come on here, I forgot that game was that close. We literally won by field goal.
Yeah, exactly.
That shows just how good they are. They were the 8th ranked team in the nation at the time.
And it's not like sometimes you can say, okay, we sleptwalked through it, we didn't play hard. But honestly, that wasn't the case this time. That was Cincinnati just came out. Mm-hmm. Cincinnati was a worthy opponent. Teams
that wanted it, and it was a great fight.
And it came down to depth, honestly. If Cincinnati was just a little bit deeper, they probably win that game. But they got exhausted, and our depth finally kicked in. Kicked in a little bit later than I wanted it to, but it kicked in because we had some guys that were fresh that play at a high level, and they did not. They wore down. So, if you're wondering about depth, if you're wondering how that matters, it matters, right? Just go watch that game.
Yes, it does.
go watch that game, and you'll see. And a lot of games are like that too, where good teams that are like a little bit smaller programs that we play well, like Northwestern, depth was an issue for them. They could have beat Ohio State, but depth was an issue. They just got worn down. So this whole NIL stuff, it'll help keep people in place. It'll help keep your depth in place, and give guys opportunities to develop. I think all in the same deal. It will keep people in line, but it will also, for the ones that are thinking about jumping, it'll probably make the decision making a little bit clearer either way, either side of the fence. Either you're going to transfer, you're going to make a decision quick, right? Or if you're going to stay, you're not even going to think about it. So to me, that's where NIL comes into play.
And for me, if I'm doing pretty good, if I'm a starter at my school right now, or second string guy, become a star, I'm not going anywhere. I'm all for, if you want to transfer, for a better situation, I'm all for it. But with now, I want to get my name out there. I'm gonna show up to practice. I'm gonna go to class. I'm gonna do the things I need to do in order for people to know who I am. In a positive light. You know what I mean? So transfer from school to school. I mean, you just can't do that, especially now. All right. So what if somebody buys your jersey today, then you up and transfer the next year? That jersey is now null and void. You made that little bit of money there, but I mean, people are going to be like, I'm not buying that. He's going to jump schools again. You know what I mean? That little psyche just goes through people's mind all the time.
And even potential business partners also, like, hey, I can't invest in this guy because as soon as I do, he's going to jump ship. So people are going to be leery of that, and that's going to be on people's minds. But neither here nor there. Expansion, there you go. Welcome, Texas and Oklahoma. Whenever you're coming, I'm not sure, but welcome, because you will be coming shortly. So we've pretty much beat that one into the ground. So we will keep you updated on SEC expansion because it is the top story. But speaking of storylines, Israel, camp is opening up soon. I know one storyline that we need to touch on is Mark Richt needs to come back and show Kirby how to backflip off the high dive. That's one thing that needs to happen. And then two, looks like we were getting after it in the weight room. But when you look at this team, obviously every team's going to have some sort of question mark somewhere. No team is perfect, right? Not even the loaded Georgia Bulldogs. They're not perfect either. So, what's the number one storyline that you're excited to kind of explore as camp opens up?
Just the how our offensive line is evolving. Just where they're putting guys. Are the backups, getting better? Are the backups pushing the ones? Just things like that, especially up front, because it's just like my football team now. That's the number one concern is my offensive line. I got some big guys, got some guys that can move, but are we progressing every day? The things that I'm looking at, I've seen the weight room. Those guys are getting after it. I know we're going to be strong. I know we're going to be fast. I know we're going to be physical. But are we technique sound? Are we fundamentally sound? Do we know who to pick up? Are the wheels going to be spinning the first game against Clemson? Things like that. So I think as of right now, I'm not really worried about us getting in trouble anymore because I think everything's fine there. You just never know still. But, at the same time, for me right now, we know who our quarterback is. We know who our running backs are. We pretty much know who's going to be in receiving core right now. For me, it's going to be who's going to protect JT so we can throw this thing around, put some points on the board, and have some fun.
Yeah, I mean, to even get a little bit more specific on the offensive line situation, I'm curious to know who's going to win those tackle jobs, right? Because there's a lot of different possibilities there. I mean, we pretty much know who the guards are going to be. Eventually, it's going to be Jamari Sawyer and Justin Schaefer. However, Tate Ratledge is in the mix there, and your best combination might be putting Jamari Sawyer out at left tackle to start the year off. And then wedging Tate Ratledge in there to play with Justin Schaefer, and then all you're left with is the right tackle spot to kind of figure out. But you got names. You got Amarius Mims, you got Broderick Jones, you got not Warren Erickson because he's the center, but you've got McClendon, right? And then you've got Xavier Truss. Those are guys that I think really kind of stand out and jump out at the page. I mean, that's what 4 guys right there for possibly one tackle spot. Like athletically speaking, Amarius Mims should be the guy. Athletically speaking, he's got most of the measurables. He's probably got the most physical talent in that room. But you and I both know, because we're coaches, that it ain't all about talent. It ain't all about strength. It's knowing.
Can you do it?
Can you do it? Can you play the position? Do you know the ins and outs of pass protection? Do you know how to size up a guy one-on-one? Like when you're watching film of who you're possibly going to be matched up with on the edge, can you spot his tendencies? Can you spot, what he likes to do in certain situations? How are you on the mental aspect of it? Because that's important. Also, how are you on the, I guess, emotional aspect of it? Like if you make a mistake, can you recover and have a short memory and go back out the next play? If you give up a sack, are you going to go in the tank? What's to happen there? So that's one question mark that I'm excited to see how we solve that, because we have talent there. It's just a matter of getting a football player there. And I'll say this, it's a matter of getting an offensive lineman there. It's not just a big guy. It's an offensive lineman. That's a compliment, because that means you're big, you're physical, you're quick, and you're intelligent. So that's what it takes to play that position. It's just big skill, baby. That's all it is. They're just big old skill people. I love it. And that's what tackles are becoming of. They're becoming big skill people.
Yep, I tell mine all the time. I love the heavy bellies. Y'all, I can't do anything without y'all. And I think up front at Georgia, we're recruiting the big guys. I think we're getting more athletic guys now, kind of because we're doing a little bit more athletic things. We're pass protecting a little bit more. We're running not really up, not really downhill now. We're kind of side to side a little bit more now. So for me, like you said, I'm looking for an offensive lineman. I'm looking for a smart guy, physical guy, strong guy. And I'm also looking for a guy that knows his left and his right. Because you'd be amazed at how many kids don't know their left and right.
That helps. I wouldn't be amazed, because half our team probably doesn't know left and right at this point.
It's amazing.
They don't know it if you tell them left and right, and they definitely don't know it when you have to use code words to code left and right. So that gets even more challenging. That we could do a whole series on that. But another question mark I'm looking at is how does these DBs how do they gel, how do they mesh together? The new guys coming in, obviously loads of talent, loads of experience, but how does that translate with the other guys, the guys that have been here? How do they mix in? How does Kennard mix in? How does or not Kennard, Kendrick? I keep calling him Kennard. I have a Kennard on my team. His name is De'Arion Kennard. Little kid. We call him Debo. That's his nickname, Debo. And honestly, he's like 5'6", 140 pounds. And he plays like freaking Ray Lewis. Like he doesn't get tired. He's not afraid to hit. And he's got a little bit of moxie about him, a little bit of that stuff. I can't, obviously I don't want to. It's a family show, Israel. I can't cuss, but you know what he's got, right? You know that type of kid. But Kendrick, how does he mesh in? Tyke Smith, how does he mesh in? Does Keely Ringo, Jalen Kimber, how are they worked in? Nyland Green, so the newcomer, what does his role look like now with those guys coming in? So all of those are question marks that I want to see. And can these guys also – can they just go out and play? Can they go out and ball? Do they try to think too much? Do they try to read coverages too much? Or do they just go out and ball?
I think you just let them boys go out and ball. I mean, you got a great DB coach. You got some great guys that have come in, kind of added some pieces to it. You kind of move some guys around, kind of see what they can do. It's just the point of now, just making sure we get out of camp healthy. We go into Clemson healthy. We finish the season healthy, and just getting these guys in the right spot so they can perform. And right now, the storylines are, I haven't heard anything bad about it. I read a story about I read a story about Smith the other day that came out of West Virginia about him not paying a bill or something like that. But I mean,
the Chip Towers.
When I think about stories. Oh no! He might have, but I'm not sure. But when I read stories like that, I'm like, why is that any of our business? You know what I mean? It's like, are we just reporting just to report? You know what I mean? I hadn't heard anything about Georgia up until that point. Just like Kendrick and get his charges dropped. Okay, like why do we need to know that? He's been accepted at Georgia. He's in summer school. He's doing a good job. Like, why do we need to know about anything else other than football? You know what I mean? So that's the only thing. That's the only negative I've heard from out of that camp.
Exactly, and Tyke. Oh, God forbid he forgot to pay a bill. Oh my gosh, what a criminal! Maybe we should cut him. Or maybe we should cut him. He can't. He's not living up to the Georgia way, right? He's man. I can't believe it. Didn't pay a bill. All right, fire Kirby, fire everybody. Let's go. Let's start over. Let's just knock this thing down, right? No, obviously not. But yeah, I mean, you got to let those guys ball, man. And I've heard nothing but great things about Tyke Smith from some of these, players only sessions and 7-on-7s. Dude is absolutely balling. So I just hope those guys play loose. I hope they have a good memory, or not a good memory, but I hope they have a short memory when something bad happens and they can just brush it off and rock and roll, because, those guys are going to get big plays hit on them. That's okay. It happens. That's football. The other guys are on scholarship too, at least that's what I heard. So
exactly.
They're going to get beat. So, I mean, it's okay.
You got to think, even the best DBs get beat sometimes. That's why I try to tell our DBs on our team, we got a corner right now. He's about 6'2", 6'3", 6'2", 6'3", like 170, 180 right now. And he got beat the other day, and I'm like, dude, it happens. I mean, Dion got beat. All the great corners in the world have gotten beat, once or twice in life. I mean, it's okay. It's okay.
You know what they say about a DB that's never gotten beaten?
He never played.
You can't get beat if you don't play. So yeah,
exactly.
No, you jumped right on that. You're a smart guy, Ace. You jumped right on that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the DBs, right? And seeing just seeing them ball, man. I can't wait to see Keely Ringo. He's one of my favorites. I can't wait to see him get out there, see how his shoulder responds. Also, the linebackers. I want to see these inside linebackers and how well they play. I'm excited. I don't think they're a question mark because I know they're really good. But I just want to see him in action, right? Nakobe Dean is one of my favorites, man. He is a freaking baller. But they all are. That whole position group is nasty. They're loaded. Also the outside linebackers. I can't wait to see them. Nolan Smith and Adam Anderson. I can't wait to see them rock and roll. I can't wait to see this defensive line. Like, our defensive unit is going to be stacked, right?
Yeah.
And, Devontae Wyatt squatted 600 pounds in that Twitter video that I saw.
He did.
Woo.
I saw it. I seen it with my own eyes.
I done seen it. I can't wait to see who emerges as the offensive playmaker. Marcus Rosemy Saint, can he? How is his leg recovered? That's obviously a storyline because he can help us in the receiving core. Arian Smith is obviously going to be the guy that blows the lid off the coverages. Eric Gilbert is going to be that guy that he's just kind of everywhere. Same with Jermaine Burton. I'm excited to see LeBron James go in there at tight. I mean, Darnell Washington go in there at tight end. I'm excited to see that.
I'm excited to see Jackson. I'm excited to see Bleav come back. I hope he can. Hope he bounces back. From his injury, because I've been waiting on this kid. I watched him in high school. He was a baller in high school. From Walton, Georgia. Walton High School, and he's just gotten injuries. Got kind of hinders everything. But I'm looking to see him make some noise this year. Lord's willing, everything is okay. So he can ball out like I know he can.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, that's obvious too. I mean, Kyrus Jackson is another one that's coming off injury. Can't wait to see kind of how he responds. Who's going to fill that George Pickens role? We know there's a whole bunch of guys that are capable of doing it. It's just a matter of which one actually does it and steps up and is that guy that, it's 3rd and 7. We're down by a touchdown. We need this drive. Who's going to be that guy? That's what I'm curious about. Who's going to be that guy that JT just goes, I don't care what the coverage is. I'm coming to you. Is that Burton? Is that Kyrus? Is that Washington? Is that Gilbert? Is it Arian Smith? Is it Roseme? I don't know. Is it Adonai Mitchell? He showed that he's capable. They're all capable in different ways. It's like
really good
it's just
spring
a matter.
too.
He had a great spring, 100 yards. I think he caught 7 balls, something like that. Probably could have had more. There's a few that he dropped, but just being a freshman, that's kind of what happens. So, well, one of the things we were going to do about our special guest, I guess he did like me and passed out on the couch. It happens. I can't sit on the couch. Like my wife doesn't allow me to sit on the couch at night because guess what? I'm asleep almost. If my feet get even with my head, it's ball game.
Ball
right?
game.
So
Ball game.
that's probably. I'll go ahead and spoil the surprise. So I don't think I think he's probably crashed by now. It's okay. This guy's busy. We record late, so I'm not going to hold it against him. That's strike 2 though. But we'll talk about Auburn a little bit. Okay, want to talk about Auburn a little bit. We want to take a kind of look at what you're going to see on Georgia's schedule. Obviously, with the new hire, Brian Harsin, he brings in Mike Bobo as offensive coordinator. He brings in Derek Mason as defensive coordinator. 2 guys that obviously know this league really, really well for recruiting's sake. Also, 2 coordinators that understand what works in this league and what this team needs to be able to do to be able to win this league. And then, of course, Harsin brings in his offense acumen as well to kind of mold that with Bobo. So I really like the coaching hires there that Auburn had. I was kind of surprised that Harsin was the guy early on, but I think, honestly, he's changing that narrative a little bit. I think he's doing a pretty good job. Everything I'm hearing, the team is progressing really well. They've kind of took to him. I know Tank Bigsby kind of entered the portal and was like, well, never mind. I'm going to stay. I kind of like this situation. But, when you look at Auburn, obviously, star power, not abundant, but you have Owen Popo on defense. And, of course, Tank Bigsby offensively. And then star in the I guess you could call him a star in the making, or he kind of should be on that star list, but it's Bo Nix. Like, he has potential to be a star quarterback in this league and have a really, really successful last dance with Auburn. But, again, he just has to go out and do it on a consistent basis. But I think Bobo's the guy that's going to get him right. So this Auburn team, like, people are writing them off. Like, they're going to be middle of the pack, obviously, because they're talented. But this West Division is tough, and they very well could be middle of the pack in the West, but that would probably be good enough for second in the East. So what do you make of this Auburn team? What do they need to do? What are the biggest keys offensively for them?
Offensively is make sure Bo Nix stays in the pocket, point blank period. Mm-hmm. That if he stays in the pocket and quit trying to run and get out of the pocket as much as he does, Auburn's going to be really good. And I know Coach Bubble has worked on that. I know the receivers aren't really well-known receivers other than Robertson. So you never know. As long as he stays in the pocket and he has the ball off the Tank Bigsby, Auburn will be fine. And that's all I saw last year. There's a lot of times that he escapes from the pocket. He doesn't have to. Once he escapes from the pocket, his eyes aren't downfield. I mean, I'm a quarterback coach. You're a quarterback coach. Yeah. You think you would think that he had the worst offensive line in the world last year, as much as he got out of the pocket, and he didn't. There were plenty. I wish we could like board talk and things like that. There were plenty of times where he could just sit in the pocket, look downfield, throw the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like quarterbacks feel phantom pressure. I've been dealing with this ever since I got to Hillwood. We've had quarterbacks that feel phantom pressure because sometimes when they get actual pressure, they think that's the reality every single play. But every time I'm watching film, and especially if I'm watching it with them, I'll pause it and say, the ball should be out at this moment. Why are you bailing? There's nobody around you. It's like, look at this pocket. It's actually really good. What are you doing? And it blows my mind. And Bo Nix is the same way. Then he would come off and yell at Chad Morris for calling a bad play, and then they'd get in a shouting match, and then it's done.
Yeah, Chad Morris and his Waffle House menu.
Like, I understand that like not everybody can be like Mike Leach, where they call it off a Post-it note like this, but you can't call it off a Waffle House menu either, right? Where the font is like 4-point font, and it's like a 11.5 by 17 sheet, both sides, every inch of it covered. Like you can't possibly get in a rhythm calling plays that way. I mean, Israel, your play sheet's pretty simple. It's even more complicated than mine. Like mine is just a list, because I'll tell you how many times I look at it during a game. Probably 3 times. Probably 3 times total. Because when I get in a roll, I just call it. I'll call it between series. I might look down at it, glance at it, see if anything jumps off the page, but. Really, honestly, I don't really need it. So, like, if I had a Chad Morris Waffle House menu, it would just be all for show, to be honest.
Right. I use mine a lot. Well, you've seen mine. I have all my plays broken down to what formations, what motions I want to use. So it makes it easy. If I want to call that play, I just call it from that. I have different situations. I have who do I want to get the ball to and things like that. But, I'm signaling this year, so I've mastered the art of one-hand signaling. So my guys understand exactly what I'm doing, just so we can move faster. I got some things that, I got from Lincoln Riley. That's just like one hand signal things, kind of like what he did with Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray. I thought that was really cool. He has that, they all come from that Mike Leach era. They all have the one sheet of paper and they just kind of roll. I'm slowly getting to that point, but I still have my call sheet too, just in case. I have my wide receiver coach does a great job of we kind of balance off each other. He might see something that I don't, so we'll come back and look at it together. But I mean, for them, I know Coach Bobo, and I know he's the quarterback whisperer. I know he's gonna get him right. So for Auburn to be successful, they're gonna have to run the football, and they're gonna have to keep Bo Nix in the pocket. And keep him away from Bobo, because I can promise you this. If he even remotely thinks that he's going to yell at Bobo like he did Chad Morris last year, he is sadly mistaken.
I hope he tries. And he does it on TV.
He's going to try it. He's going to try it, and it's going to get
I hope
ugly.
He tries it on TV. Oh, it's going to be real ugly. It's going to be funny. It's going to be a not top 10 moment. It's going to be something that you see on Twitter, and people are going to be dying laughing. So I'm here for it. Defensively, obviously, Owen Popo comes in for Auburn. Up front, they're pretty good. They've recruited well up front. So, this defense, I think the key to this Auburn defense is continue getting to the passer. That's got to be key number 1. Key number 2, you've got to help your secondary out a little bit, because I think they can get to they can get into trouble, I should say, in the secondary. So, you've got to cut down your 400-plus yard games. And I know Alabama had a historic offense, so I'll take them off the list. But A&M, Georgia, and Ole Miss, Georgia did it with a walk-on quarterback that, honestly, I love him to death, but was probably the 3rd best quarterback on the roster. and he put up 400 plus against you. Like, come on. But that's what Derek Mason brings to the table. He's going to bring probably a little bit more poise, a little bit more organization, a little bit more of an identity to that unit. Say what you want to say about him as a head coach. Obviously, he was in over his head in a tough situation at Vanderbilt. He did everything he could. Actually did a pretty good job there for a little while. Then it just kind of fell upon him. He's backed as a coordinator, so we think that's going to be good. They returned 8 starters, actually. So, like Ole Miss returns a lot of starters too. It's only going to get better for this group. And Zacoby McClain is another name to kind of look out for in the linebacking core for Auburn.
Oh, yeah, Auburn's, they've always been really good with the front seven with Popo, and you got McClain and those guys up front. The secondaries, like you said, is always suspect. It just depends on what kind of day they're having. And Smoke Monday, he came back, right?
He's back. Yep.
Smoke Monday, I think he's the most consistent one on that back end. But, both corners are still suspect. I mean, you just never know. And like you say, if they can keep some pressure off that secondary on the back end, I think they'll be fine. Jacoby McClain, we coached him at Valdosta. He's been a head hunter since he got there. I remember watching Popo I remember watching that kid in high school. He was a bad man then. He still is. You lose Big Cat to USF. So, you replace the guy, but at the same time, I mean, Auburn's front seven's always been good. They've always given Georgia problems, So, I mean, if they could just get it right on that back end, I think Auburn makes some noise on defense for sure.
It's got to be about consistency for this group. And obviously I said that earlier about Derek Mason bringing that in. They finished actually 6th in the conference in total defense. So it all wasn't bad. It just seemed like it was a roller coaster. Like one game they're giving up a ton of yards and points, and next game they're not. Like it was feast or famine with this group. So they got to get a little bit more on an even keel and play at a higher level. They did really well in the transfer market too. Like I feel like West Virginia has no DBs left. Because Drayshawn Miller transferred to Auburn. He comes in at the cornerback spot, had 8 PBUs. He's good. Roger McCreary looks to be on the other side. Obviously, he was there. But they got a big transfer from UAB, 335-pounder Tony Fair on the inside. Tyrone Truesdale is somebody that, if I'm an Auburn fan, I'm excited to see kind of what he does on the inside. He's 325 pounds as well. So they got some beef there. The biggest transfer for Auburn was an outgoing transfer. Big Cat Bryant is following Gus to UCF. So that's kind of concerning. But Derek Hall is going to be that guy that's going to try to fill those shoes, albeit probably not easy to do. So when you look at Auburn offensively, going back, the passing game has to work. You hit the nail right on the head. Nix has got to stay in the pocket. He's got to throw. I think it's going to take a couple times of him just stepping into a throw and getting clobbered to realize that it doesn't hurt as bad as it looks on TV. And maybe he'll have some confidence there. Third down defense for Auburn, that's the biggest key. They've got to get more stops on third down. That was probably their biggest hole, not to mention that. So schedule-wise, they got a big road game at Penn State. They're already calling for a whiteout there. They also play road games against LSU and A&M. So not an easy schedule, but they get Georgia at home, Ole Miss at home, and Alabama at home to kind of offset that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this Auburn Tigers team can do. Obviously, to everyone that's writing them off, don't do it. Don't do it. They're going to be good.
They'll always surprise you at some point.
They're going to be good. They're going to give out, like, if there's ever a year for them to get Alabama, this is a year for them to be able to get Alabama. Just to be clear, I'm not saying that they're going to, but obviously we will reevaluate that. We could come to the Iron Bowl and Auburn's won 2 conference games, and we could just be sitting here going, man, Auburn sucks. Brian Harson's not the answer. I don't think that's going to be the case, but I also don't think, they've always got a chance in that rivalry. It doesn't matter if Auburn's 0-11 coming into that game. They've always got a chance there. So I'm excited to see what Derek Mason can bring. Can he redeem his name in this conference? I don't think he has to, but obviously perception is reality. His last stint was this past season at Vanderbilt, which is one that he would probably like to forget. But he's talented. He will bounce back, and he'll get back on his feet. Starting with the Auburn defense, he will make them into a force. You give that guy 8 starters, it's look out, man.
Hey, you got to understand something with Vandy's defense has never been bad.
No.
And he's a defensive-minded guy. Vandy's defense has never been bad. They just couldn't score on offense, which if you keep putting your defense out there, then they're going to get tired. Vandy's defense has never, ever been bad.
They had one bad game against South Carolina that I think sticks out in everybody's mind, but no, they've always been really good. They've always flown around the football. They've always tackled. They've always been physical over there. They've never made it really easy on teams.
No,
but they just have no depth, and they can't move the ball on offense.
Exactly. So when you keep putting them out there, I mean, they're going to get tired. And now you're giving them 8 starters with recruiting. The recruiting in Alabama as far as skill guys and DBs is amazing. And now you're giving him those weapons too. Come on now. He's a great defensive mind.
Yep, exactly. It's going to be interesting nonetheless. And if I'm an Auburn fan, I'm actually excited. But I know those Auburn fans are probably not used to being excited. I thought Gus did a good job. He just kind of ran out of gas, and it was just time for him to go. Kind of like Coach Rick. It just kind of happened. It was just time. He was burnt out. The team was burnt out, and it was just time for a change for everybody. And same for Gus. Like he's rejuvenated down in Orlando. Auburn's rejuvenated. It's a win-win for both of those parties, and I think it was just something that needed to happen. I think Hart's going to do better than everybody thinks. I think Auburn is going to be a force in the West more than people think. That's not an easy win there. I think they're going to give some people some fits. So that's a very, very quick look at the Auburn Tigers. We'll get more of an idea when we play that weird October game against them coming up later in the season. So that's going to be something that we look forward to and see. We're going to do literally right before the season kicks off. We're going to give our division rundown to see kind of make note of it at the beginning of the season and revisit it at the tail end of the season and kind of see where we finished, how accurate we were. So I'm excited for that. But as we wrap, I read that Mark Webb got the first interception at Chargers camp in a 7-on-7. He picked off Easton Stick, former quarterback from North Dakota State. So Mark Webb, a 7th-round draft pick of the Los Angeles Chargers, got an interception. So they're saying he's got a really good shot making the team. Obviously, he's probably not going to play a ton on defense, but he's going to be a guy that's going to get in special teams, and he's got somebody that's got a chance to make this roster and be good for the Chargers. So I'm excited for that.
All you got to do is go out there, know what to do, play hard. You'll make the roster.
Exactly. So Mark Webb, shout out to them. I can't wait to see kind of what all of our other Georgia Dogs do in the NFL. I'm excited about Azeez Ojulari, what he brings to the Giants. I'm excited about all of our DBs, Stokes in Green Bay, Campbell in Jacksonville. Excited to see what they can do. Big Ben Cleveland officially signed with the Ravens a couple weeks ago. See what he can bring to the table there for them. See if he can go and lock up a starting position on their offensive line. I think that would be a big deal for him to come in as a 3rd rounder and do that. So I'm excited to see what the future is. Very, very bright for this Georgia program. Again, we say that all the time, Israel, but it's the truth, really.
Yeah, I mean, with everything going on right now, we were able to do camps and everything this year. So people were able to come in and see the new facilities and see how well things are going in Georgia. So, I mean, it's looking good for us right now.
Exactly. It really is. A couple of recruiting losses, but that's
That's a part of it. That's a part of the business.
That's a part of it, and it ain't over. So it ain't over until they sign, and even then, it's not really over. And nowadays, it's never over until they run out of eligibility. So
never over.
Kirby does a good job of not burning bridges, so gives those guys a chance to transfer back if they want to. So, but Israel, that's gonna do it for us. I know that it's a very exciting time of year. Obviously, we're both cranked up in the high school game. We're 22 days away, actually now 21 days away from our opening game. We travel, but I'm excited to see what our young group can do. I know you're excited, all in the same.
Oh yeah, we got some new shirts and cups in today. I'm rocking the Monroe M today. Our booster club's doing a great job, man. They Darius Kelly's come in. There was not one when we first got there. He's come in, kind of took the bull by the horn. Our tumblers came in today. They're $25, by the way, if you want one. Check social media right down here. Check your boy out down good. Here. And they did an awesome job on that. Yeah, and we got our shirts in. These are $10 a piece. To help out, our booster club and everything, I spend about $100 a day on shirts and tumblers and things for family members and everything. So, it's an exciting time. Football's around the corner. We got our inter-squad scrimmage next week, and then we have our little media day thing we have on the 12th of August, and then our scrimmage on the 13th, and the first game against Appling County on the 20th. So it's coming fast.
So if you're in the Benny, go check out Monroe. They're going to be the premier team down in that area. So screw Lee County, screw Westover. It's all about Monroe, right? So we're looking to dominate Nashville. You're looking to dominate Southwest Georgia, which I think you guys have a chance to do. Check out my man Israel. Get you a cup with an M on it, right? Go to and pour your cocktail in it, and then go to Bet Online, make some bets, win you some money, and then buy some merch.
There you go. The official website launches. It should be up by lunchtime tomorrow.
Nice. Well done. Well freaking done. So, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I'm hoping like we can get to a point where we're going to have a booster club, but I think we're a couple of years away from even trying that. I think when we get to the new school, there will be a little bit more excitement. I think for not only booster clubs, and there's going to be like athletics. Everything's going to get a boost, when you get a new building. So that'll be fun for us.
Type stuff.
And what's exciting is like our freshman and sophomore class, they're going to be upperclassmen when we move. Like, it's going to be fun because these two classes are really, really good for us. We got a lot of kids out, a lot of talented kids out. There's going to be a lot of freshmen and sophomores that's going to be heavy contributors for us. So in about 2 years, we're going to be nasty.
Yeah, that's just like us right now. I lose 3 guys on offense, and the defense loses like 2. We're very sophomore and junior loaded, and we got some freshmen that are playing for us right now too. My left guard is a freshman, upcoming freshman. We are the future's bright, and that's football. That's just like any university. Yes, you want that experience, but at the same time, you take your lumps, few lumps, the first year, but after that, time to go play ball. After that, those guys have experience.
Let's go. Yeah, so
yes,
I'm excited. I know you're excited. A lot of good things happening in our world. Real lot to be happy about, a lot to be thankful of. So just want to remind everybody, be safe, obviously, with all the stuff that's going on. Be safe, be smart, all that stuff. And as we are the Bleav Georgia Dawgs podcast network. We're presented by Bet Online. You can find us on YouTube right here at Brinks TV. Also, Facebook. You can stream our show. You can also catch us on every podcatcher, wherever you get your podcast. Like, share, and subscribe. The word gets out with you. We're not a subscription-based deal. It retweets, shares, say, hey, I got this podcast you should listen to. This guy from Monroe and then this other guy, they do a really good show. You don't even have to be a Georgia fan to enjoy it. We're going to make SEC picks every week, so we're going to touch on every team in the conference probably. So buckle up, right? You don't have to be a big time Georgia fan to appreciate this show. So you can find us. Come on, bring it on. Our guests are gonna start ramping up. We're gonna get Chris Burnett back in the fold. Potential working out some details with Robert Edwards. Got in touch with him on Twitter, so there's a possibility there. Maybe we can have a little sibling rivalry with him and Terrence. That would be fun. Terrence, I'm in contact with Robert, so let's make that happen. But a lot of good things. You can also I'm spreading the brand on SEC After Dark with Willis Digital Media, home of the Palmcast. I'm spreading the wealth there with Beast of the East, representing the Georgia side of it there. And of course, Illegal Motion as well. So the brand is everywhere. You just got to catch on, right? We got to get that spark. We got to light that. We got to rub those two sticks together. That's where we're at right now. We're rubbing the sticks together, trying to get that spark down into the kindling. And once that fire gets set, man, Israel, it's going to be off the chain.
It's going to be ready to roll, rock and roll.
That's right. And pretty soon we're going to have our own merch. We're going to have Bleav in Georgia Dawgs tumblers, right? we're going to have T-shirts and hats. We're going to have pictures, right?
That's it. Sooner or later.
Israel's going to
teamwork makes the dream work.
We had that on our shirts one year, my sophomore year of high school.
That's right.
Big writing on the back of a shirt. Yeah,
that's right.
It is. It's a great slogan, but we went 4-6 with that slogan, and then it turned into a joke. It's a great slogan, but it's forever ruined for me because of that season. But anyway, I digress. That's something for another show. We are the Bleav in Georgia Dawgs podcast presented by Bet Online. Like, share, subscribe. Find us, listen to us, and stick around. We'll be back at you next week, probably with some more expansion news, probably with some more season previews, maybe a special guest. Who knows at this point? Who cares at this point? Israel, you and I are more than capable enough to carry this load. So until next time, have a great weekend. We'll see you back next week as we keep this train rolling. Go Dogs. See you later.
Dogs.
We're out.